Hi, Caleb from Brownells here, and in today's product spotlight, we're going to be taking a look at the K-Spec Buffers from KAK Industries. So these well, let me back up here. They do make standard style buffers, which are these two I have right here. These are A5 length buffers, and the cool thing about these that are different than other buffers is that they color code the back of the actual buffer portion, the rubber I guess it's like a rubber end piece, which was pretty interesting because I have a bunch of these A5 buffers and I have to pick them up and shake them to figure out what's what, which is a super terrible way to do things. But these I can just glance at them and see what weight they are. But we're not here to talk about these. These are standard buffers. We're here to talk about the K-Spec stuff, alright? So the K-Spec buffers, and you can get them by themselves, but they come with, you can get them with a flat wire recoil spring. You get the full kit. That's the way to do it. So the KAK, this is their flat wire spring that comes with their buffer kit, and it's just a good quality flat wire buffer. And I'm not super big. If you know me from the past video stuff, I'm not huge on flat wire recoil springs. I think they're whatever. I think they're whatever is probably the best way to put it. But I decided to give these a try, and so far I've been pretty happy with them. So, with that being said, let's talk about what the K-Spec buffer actually is. It's a two-piece buffer. The front piece of it, so if you're familiar with standard buffer bodies, they're aluminum, right? With weights inside, whether that be steel or tungsten or whatever. But these are aluminum bodied, but the head of them, the head is steel, and the steel actually reciprocates, and it's under spring tension. What this does is, they say it reduces recoil a little bit, which I'm sure it does to an extent. I didn't really notice it that much, but I'm shooting guns that are already tuned, so I'm not gonna really notice that anyway, right? But the cool thing about that, or why you would want this, is because it reduces bolt bounce. They make this for pistol caliber carbines too, which is those have a huge bolt bounce issue. But this pretty much eliminates bolt bounce because whenever your bolt comes forward, instead of, Newton's law, opposite reaction, right? Instead of the bolt wanting to bounce back after it hits the chamber a little bit, what happens is the back of this will actually compress slightly, keeping the bolt in battery. So really, really good for full auto stuff as well. So if you're shooting a machine gun, that's great. Works well with suppressed guns, all that stuff. It evenly distributes a lot of that reciprocating mass as your gun's recoiling. So in theory, it should also increase reliability as well, which, that's kind of what sold me on it. I like things to be reliable. Who doesn't, right? So the other aspect of this, so whenever I got one, so I'm using one in my BRN4, or my 416 clone, whatever you want to call it. I'm using the A5 length, and when I went to install it, I was putting everything in, and I put the spring on the buffer. Let me just kind of take this apart here. I put the spring on the buffer and went to jam it into the buffer tube, as one does whenever they're putting things together, right? And my detent was getting caught on the flat wire spring, and then it got caught in the gap between the head and the buffer body, and I had to get in there with a tool to get it to seat, and I was like, man, this is very frustrating. I don't like this. That was my initial reaction. And then I realized that this piece of plastic that came in the packaging that I immediately discarded was actually an installation tool, so it helps you get it in there. It's not necessary. You don't have to have it, so if you lose it, it's not the end of the world. But it is very nice to have. And you could probably use that just installing and uninstalling regular buffers and springs, and it would help you out with that as well. So let me kind of show you how this thing works. Open up your rear pin, and then since we're pulling it out, I'm going to put my thumb over it, right? And you set the tool, that little lip on the bottom of the tool is going to go down into your buffer detent channel. Then you push down on this tool, and then that's going to release the buffer, which is why I'm holding it. And then you close your takedown pin, and that's going to go over the tool and keep it in the down position. So now your buffer and spring go in and out freely. So Like I said, you can use this on any buffer and spring. It doesn't have to be this one, but it works great for this one. So to get everything in, I'm just going to take it like from the top on here so you can see how you would do it if you had nothing installed. Alright, so we're just going to take the tool, set it in there. I'm just going to push down since I don't have a buffer in the way now. And with this push down, close my takedown pin. And now it's pushed down, so I'm going to insert the buffer and spring. And then just remove this takedown pin. And then that's going to fly out the way. And then there you have it. It's just that simple. And everything's locked into place like it would be. So that's pretty nifty, nice and easy, right? So with that being said, that is the K-Spec buffer and spring from KAK Industries. If you have any questions, comments, experience with the products, you know what to do. Leave them down below in the comments. If you're watching this on the website and not a other streaming service with a comment section, and you just need help with something or want to hear a voice or whatever, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.